praise to the whole man of creation.
Metamorphosis. Metamorphosis.
No chains around my feet, but I'm not free.
Economic enslavement.
Ooh, I know I am bounded in captivity.
Metamorphosis. Liberation. This Metamorphosis on StylzFM. Tinastilin. Greetings. Salutation.
No sun will shine in my day today.
Dr. Iman Blak on the Metamorphosis. Must be from within. On the Metamorphosis on StylzFM. Station for liberation. Greetings, greetings. Another metamorphosis in the concrete jungle on the global plantation. Greetings. Hail to the people in Portland, St. Mary, St. Thomas, right across the Sphere Island of Jamaica. And hail the people online, looking at us through the streaming of the Ustream. And we hail all the persons across the globe, east, west, north, and south, and the people in the middle. Yeah, Metamorphosis, January And we're still here. And as we prepare for another year, we have to really check carefully how far we have moved and exactly where are we going. Now, the whole island here of Jamaica is under a little frenzy as the first minister of the country, the prime and the most important ministress, made her speech. And everybody is in a frenzy. So the Metamorphosis will sort of examine some of the statements and can we hold on to any of these arguments for motivation. There is also the role that I want to speak about of the police. As the police in Jamaica has been seriously empowered, that they now seem to be an agency for collection. They now seem to be an arm of the government to collecting funds on the roads, in particular on the roads. So we're going to wonder, through the Metamorphosis, looking at the emerging police state and the power that these very, very young boys and young women have with these mighty guns. Personal experience now, I was in Her Majesty's Court. Yes, them dragged me in there. Ah, boy, may I tell you. Hear ye, oh, hear ye. Yeah, man, I say, felt very British. And it's a whole heap of man and all sorts of discussions of rights and wrongs and, you know, the lawyer speaking, the one lawyer defending about 50 different men. One man, you know, him alone talking for about 30 different men. And I just watch the proceedings until them call me up now and the constable don't show up again. Now this is the third time the force don't show up, you know. The man them lock I up for carrying offensive weapon. I just have a knife in my bag. And them find and take it out and take her to Her Majesty's Court. And I've been going there back and forth 2, 3, 4 times. I will not add up how much money it cost me to go there so far. I ask how much would that cost if I plead guilty. If I spend more money already. Just in traveling. So I just decided no, so hear me now. First in the woman's lawyers, the judge said, you know, the constable is not here to come back. I said, no, Your Honor, I can't come back. She said, you have to come back. I said, well, all right. How much you going to cost me? She said, you're pleading guilty. I said, how much you going to cost me? And don't want to tell how much you going to cost me, you know. Then I'm going to plead guilty first. But I don't know how my pockets stay, you know. Because if you plead guilty and you can't pay, they must scrape you up. But the long and short of it is that I, Blak, pled guilty for 2 counts. The 2 counts cost me $4,000. So the government is $4,000 richer. I'm on $4,000 poorer. But me there on the outside. Crucial. And Metamorphosis continues. StylzFM.
400 years.
Yeah, we're listening to the man Touch, reflecting on the fact that we are still 400 years on the plantation. And it's discussing in studio now this whole court system, wherein when you don't show up, no, put it this way, when you show up and there's no case, you just have to go back and come again. And you show up again and there's no case, you have to go away and come back. And the one day you don't show up, they must send for you, lock you up, telling you that you are showing disrespect and contempt to the court. All I'm saying now, when the courts put off the case, does not show this contempt to the individual. When the police don't show up and the case is not held, who is showing contempt to who? Make a look at the people who have any rights within that system. Anyway, we have to deal with it. We have to deal with it. And until the people get conscious and begin to really challenge. You know, I had a talk with a policeman. Policeman come amongst in my premises, you know. And I see him smoking a cigarette and I said, Virgin, I shall lock you up for that, you know. Because what you're doing is illegal. As a matter of fact, what you're doing is deadly. Yes, it's suicide committing. So they shall lock you up. He said, no, Ross, we should do. But I say, if I have a split, you lock me up. He said, well. So I say, well, what? He said, how it going to work? So I say, how you know, say, the alcohol and the cigarette is deadly. And when a man have a little spliff, the man is alone in a hill and you chase him, say, the law. Some say, why them don't legalize them? Say, boy, the system make more money when it don't legal. Some say, what do I mean? Him say, when it's not legal, police can lock you up. When the yeah, man, the man tell I clearly, you know, I'm say, when it's not legal, police can lock you up. And from the moment them can lock you up, you have to spend the money. And so the government insists that that's one of the ways they're going to consistently earn. And I'm saying to the brethren now, someone say, you know, say something wrong. Him say, boy, I have to defend him job. Someone say, in defending your job now, you think people who really are innocent, them say, I saw the system set. And when I go across Jamaica now, the talk nowadays, boy, I saw the thing set. Everything set, man. Boy, I saw the thing set. Somebody said to the brethren, so it can unset. It can reset. Amen, man. Not no set forever, you know, sir. Not no set no cement. Yeah, things can change.
Solution. Too much frustration, so much confusion. Hey. I don't wanna live in the dark. Ain't trust no shadows after dark. So my friend, I wish that you could see I got a bird in a tree. We must be free.
It's going to take a revolution to create any solution here. Yes, this is the Metamorphosis. I am your host. I'm Dr. Iman Blak. Engaging thoughts, engaging feelings, engaging the intellect, the spirit, the mind, the intuitions, the imagination, engaging the eye. No, this island called Jamaica. We have a situation with a dollar that is sprinting. Yes, we have a sprinting dollar now. Sprinting to complete 100 meters. It's moving towards 100 now. And the Prime Minister made a speech recently, a couple of days ago, and the whole nation had them ears pricked, listening now to hear how the economic side of the life is going to be solved. Because people are perplexed, people are overwhelmed here on this island. Globally still, you know, what they call economic issues. Everything is economic. Everything is economic. So the whole island now, ears upon cock for your economic news. Whoa! End result is try, and just try. You see, people, you see, because the population is so illiterate. It's not bad-minded, the people are bad-minded, you know. The people are so illiterate. That if a man get up and say, rain falls from the ground up, everybody say, yay! They may hear what the man say it, you know. But him look good. And him own some property and him have status. So we don't listen to comprehend and then overstand. We just listen and we jump up and we say, yeah. So the population now, I'll tell you them now, man, they have 3 decades. I mean, I tell you, the people them here is not bad-minded. The people them just illiterate. No, illiterate don't really come, don't listen mean them can't read or write, you know. What it means is that them lack what you call comprehension skills. People who have the old school, who went to school in the 60s and so on, early 70s, there was a special class that was called comprehension in part of the English. And that part was crucial. Because even though we are reading and writing, you see, if you couldn't pass comprehension, you couldn't pass English. Yeah, you have to be able to do some analysis and deductions and so forth. You see, nowadays, this vast population here, no reasoning power. Someone get up and say, the economic storms of Europe cannot touch us in Jamaica. And people say, yeah! A man said, can't touch me. That means it can't touch me. And when it touch me now, say, see it? See it? Like the man that I tell you now. I am saying to these people now who are listening, the government was making a report on its achievements over the first year. The Prime Minister didn't set out to outline how we're going to get out of the economic problems. That was not on the agenda. But because people are listening to hear these things and you don't hear it, you get very frustrated and very disappointed. But here the reality is now. Those who govern know. K-N-O-W. Just like how them say no, they know. Them know, say they don't have any power to really make any real decisions to help any people who are really poor. Because the poverty has been brought on by 50 years of mismanagement by both parties of government. So it's rather than bash, the metamorphosis is not about that. It's about presenting a position that the Prime Minister could have presented and that any member of government could present as an alternative now to the IMF and this non-agreement and the chaos that the country is sliding into. So it's in the final hour now, the metamorphosis will present the economic solution to this crisis that we face in Jamaica. And for people who read the newspaper, you know, you can jump ahead of me and just look at the Sunday Gleaner, Jamaica Sunday Gleaner, January 6th, 2013. This is going to be the basis now of my discussion as to what really is the way out of this economic slump. What is the way towards this great leap forward that the Jamaican economy has to make? What will be the foundation? So we're saying the Sunday Gleaner, page C8. That gives us the framework of our liberation. And it has nothing to do with tourism. It has to do now with agriculture. It has to do with industry. And you see, in the early 60s, when Jamaica just got independence, the economic philosophy was industrialization. That was the way forward. It was industrialization by invitation. So we invited all sorts of foreign people to come in and industrialize the country. The solution this time is also industrialization. It's around a product that is agricultural. And I will explore this in a very serious way in the final hour of this program. It's something that's being done in Kentucky, right in the United States. And this product can give the state of Kentucky $400 million per year. What may I say? The state of Kentucky has projected that if they use this particular crop as a foundation of their economics, they can earn $400 million a year, only from 4 products. It's right here in Jamaica, and it grow wild. Yeah, we're going to speak about it. It's our way to solve the crisis that the government and the governors are unable to resolve. Metamorphosis, StylzFM. Metamorphosis, going into our first segment of I-Word Sound and Power. You know, in the previous program I was talking about the Chinese and how black people could get a view of themselves looking through the lens of the Chinese. Got quite a few responses through the email and through the text messages. I've decided also I should begin to try to read some of these messages at maybe at each hour, you know. Read some of the text messages that you can know that I am fully aware of your connections. Yes. Now, the Chinese people, black people, I could look on them again and figure out why is it they're not in our situation when they were brought here as slaves. Why is it we don't see Chinese men on the rubbish trucks? Why we don't see Chinese in the police force? And in Jamaica, why we don't see Chinese even in the parliament? But when we go into this business sector, we see the Chinaman. We see the wholesale industries, we see the Chinaman. We go to the Chinese Benevolent Association, we see the Chinaman. But again, he's not in Parliament, which is the seat of power. We don't really see him in the religious orders. We don't see no Chinese priests, nor pastors. We don't see them again in the streets as mendicants. So there's a special movement the Chinese make that we as the black people can take a page from. No, the identity issue is very, very strong here. Because if you call a Korean a Chinese, him get vexed. Him get extremely angry. Huh? And as African people looking on now, they all look alike. It's the same way them think all we look alike still. Because they can't see the difference between the Hausa and the Fulani and the Ibu. But the identity issue of the Chinese man is not so specific to him being in China. The people from the place that we call Asia, the larger area now, with the Koreans and the Japanese. No, we can't call them all of these people Chinese. Because it's an insult to them personal integrity to show you how identity is crucial. So we here now as black people, you saw we lose our identity. One day we are this, and the next day we are that. And we're switching from religious identities. We are Pentecostal one day and we're baptized again and we turn Baptist. And then we are JLP and PNP, and Democrats and Republicans. And then some of us are not black, we are really brown. And some of us are not Africans, we are African descendants. The Chinese man is a Chinese man. He has his ethnic differences, each one and whatever various ethnic roots. But his identity remains the same. We need to take a page out of the cultural powers of the Chinese and recognize that in 2013, they're on the verge of being a world power. So if they were slaves in the Western world in the 1850s, 150 years later, the Chinese man is almost on top of the world. Top of the world. So what we're talking about, black people, is that we should take a serious lesson from a Chinese man. And we don't need 150 years. Because, believe it or not, no, and use the statistics. They tell us that there are 1.5 billion Chinese people in the world. And I'm saying now that there are 5 billion black people. Yeah, black people. And we're calling people, we're calling in all melanin-based people, we're calling black people. So we far outnumber the Chinese in that way. But the Chinese are more organized. That is the key word. And they're organized around their identity. The Vietnamese, you can't call a man come from Vietnam a China man. Yeah, man, we could think it out seriously. Here in Jamaica now, we fight over whether man, which parish a man come from, him call himself. So the town man versus the mobile man. And the country man versus the town man. We so love the divide that we divide ourselves smaller and smaller, smaller, so we can war more and more and more. We need to reverse the process, and the reversal comes with the knowledge of the self. Sometimes you ask yourself, people ask themselves, who am I? I'm suggesting that ask yourself, what am I? Ask yourself that question. Get out of the who for a while and ask yourself, what am I? Try and answer it from that perspective and see what answer comes to the eye. exploring the nature of the man from China, the Asian man, the China man. And another point that's critical now, is that the issues of identity, the critical ones, race, gender, and spirit. And there's another one we must continue to add now, and as we add up on these, build up on the foundation. The blood. The blood is another important element of the identity, to the point that we're going to speak about dynasties and bloodlines and the importance of the blood. The importance of African blood versus the blood of Jesus. Yes, the importance of the blood. The Chinaman then has the philosophy of race first. And the second principle of Chinese philosophy is family. So we must look at what the Chinaman has done. And what the Chinaman has done is simply replicating ancient African traditions. Race first, family next, money and wealth, what follows. So we respect the Oriental people. But when we come closer to home, there are some issues amongst the black people here now. And on this island in Jamaica now, we have a set of people that either we call them or them call themselves the Maroons. And this group of persons, I think, is, at this moment, is a problem in the consciousness of the black struggle here. There are many persons who, for example, think that the Maroons are a group of people who sold out the black people. This sold out phrase is used quite often. I want to begin by saying, first of all, there's no race of people called the Maroons. There's no race called the Maroons. The Maroon is an English word that means abandoned or deserted or far away. So the word is used, for example, when a man goes out to sea. When our fishermen go out to sea and run out of gas and the boat can't go anywhere, they are marooned out at sea. If the astronauts travel to space and get into difficulties and can't find them way to make connection, they become marooned in space. So the first thing we need is a correct understanding of the word maroon and realize that there are no race of people on the earth called the Maroons. So the maroon is a condition. It's a condition of isolation. And so when Africans were brought into this hemisphere, when they were brought in a state of enslavement, there are many African groups who chose to use resistance movements and violence to escape the plantations. It happened not only in Jamaica, it happened in quite a few of the islands of the territories of the Caribbean. So the idea of maroon is not a specific to any race of people. It is to a condition. Now the Africans who were on this island and chose to run away from the plantations and become isolated, these are the Africans that we're calling Maroons. So these Africans are no different from the Africans. They are African people, they are black people. So we need to break on this divide about these Maroons being a special race of people. And those who are not Maroons are not Maroons, and therefore they are not as African as, we have to use this knowledge base to move away the wedge that has been placed between the people who were marooned and the African people who were emancipated. Because obviously there are two different mentalities, two different psyches. The marooned mind is simply more self-reliant and more independent, more self-reliant. The emancipated mind is still a dependent mind, depending on the farmer system to keep it going. But those who are conscious must use the knowledge to break up this fallow ground, this fallow divide between the Maroons and the rest of the black people in Jamaica and the Rastafarians. Because the Rastafarians also seem to be a group that think that the Maroons sell out and they're not really our brethren and Koja did sign this and Nani did hold that. And we need to shake out those sort of stories out of our meditation and realize the unity of the black people. There are no Maroons. We're all African. We're all black people. Some of us are still maroon right here in Jamaica. What interests me about the Maroon lands is that the lands that the Maroon are said to be owners of, which the government can get involved with. In other words, the Maroons are not, they're on their own land. No, an independent country like Jamaica, the other lands are not really owned by the people, you know. Most of the land is owned by the crown. The crown still represents the queen. So between the queen and the church, much of our lands are owned. The Maroons now, the Maroon Africans who have been marooned and claim lands, you know, it's on these lands now that we should perhaps have some of our crops grow, like the cannabis plant. Maybe the Maroons are the ones who should challenge to grow cannabis, since their lands are their lands and the government really cannot interfere. So the Maroons really, we think Rastafari, the concept of the Maroons, black people generally, we have to begin to see ourselves as one black people. We have to begin to cut out these divides between who is Maroon and who is not Maroon and who is Rastafari. It is these divides that keep the black nation in disarray. So the syndrome of Lynch that speaks about divide and rule, it is also deep in our own psyche. As much of us are conscious, much of our behavior is still divisive. So I'm saying we need a healing. We need a healing amongst Rastafari. We need a healing amongst the Maroons. We need a healing amongst the emancipated black people on the island. Realize that we are the 96% majority. Yes, we are the one. Out of many, one. African World Affairs, our story on the Metamorphosis. Yeah, this is the second of the show where we speak to Africa at the heartbeat of the people, at the center of our conscious physical being, at the heart of the black man is Africa. And in Africa, we also speak about Egypt and we speak about Ethiopia. Now, there are many persons who are biblically inclined. And they're not really aware that the first country on this planet that is mentioned in the Genesis of King James is Ethiopia. But the interpretation of that word Ethiopia can be expanded beyond the simple place that is ruled by His Majesty and the Ethiopian government. That small space in years and hundreds of years gone by was represented under a different term. The word Ethiopia really meant the entire continent. Yes, the entire continent was called Ethiopia. So when we speak about Ethiopian people, we're talking about black people from the continent. Yeah, the language has changed with us. Now we don't longer call the continent Ethiopia. Now we call the continent Africa. Just because we have been influenced now by the Romans. The Romans came and they saw the black people and they say that these are Afri, meaning black people. And so the continent took on the name Africa. But before the Romans, they were the Greeks. And the Greeks recognized the place as Ethiopia. And the entire continent of people are Ethiopians. So the Ethiopians shall surely stretch forth their hand, and prince and princess shall come out of Ethiopia and Egypt and these mighty places. So this is why it's so important that in our recollection and our remembering of ourselves, we centralize much on Africa and Egypt in particular. Now, still looking at ourselves through China, and we're looking at the concept of a dynasty. What is a dynasty? D-Y-N-A-S-T-Y. Because when we look into ancient history, we find that there are African dynasties because there were dynasties in Egypt. 15, 17, 18 dynasties, and the dynasties are really now, it's really a succession of rulers of the same line of descent. That's really what a dynasty is. It's a powerful group or it's a family that maintains its position for a very long time. And in ancient Egypt, Egypt was dominated by dynasties. When we look in China, there's a similar pattern. Now, the Chinese also had their dynasties. Yeah, very similar to the Africans and their notions of dynasties and rulers. When we even go look into the culture of the Indians also had their dynasties. When we look at the dates for some of these dynasties, the Chinese dynasties take you back into the BC time. 3000, 4000 BC. Years, this is before the Christian era. So the Chinese, before the Christ thing came, were powerful in their families. They had dynasties. They had their cultures. The Chinaman is not to be found in the explanation of the world through King James. But before even the Christian era was established and the Christian Bible was presented, the Chinaman had his dynasties, he had his philosophies, and there's no Chinaman who was dying to go to heaven. And there's no Chinaman who believed that any man came to save him from any sins that were committed by some man in a garden. The Chinese are totally disconnected from that type of religious and philosophical belief. The same thing holds for the Indians. And Indian dynasties go back also thousands of years before the Christian era. Far back as 6000 BC, the Indians can speak of dynasties. So the Indians and the Chinese and the Africans have a great amount of similarity in the concept of families and rulers and governance. We want to look into Europe for dynasties. There are not many dynasties in Europe because when we want to search Europe for that whole rulership of families, we have to come very early up into the English era. The English and the French setting up their houses of lords and so forth and so on. So these European people who govern the entire world now with their ideology are lacking in dynasties in their evolution, don't understand the importance of, well, they do, because they understand the importance of families. So the object is to destroy the families of these other nations. So African families have been disintegrated. The Chinese have held on to his. The Indians have held on to his. Dynasties are real forces. Dynasties of Egypt, the dynasties of China, the dynasties of India. Here we are now, black people, in 2012, 2013, 2014, going on, lacking knowledge of the great families that have descended out of Africa. Now we are here cussing family. We dare talk about family no good. When the family is the foundation of the community, it is the foundation of the state. The Egyptians recognize the importance of family. They recognize the importance of dynasties. They recognize the importance of the bloodline. And so we hail the Chinese people. We respect the dynasties that they establish, but more critically, we recall the dynasties of ancient Egypt. Yeah, the importance of dynasties. You know, people who are in the modern era today now, people born from 1990 onwards and so forth, the word dynasty may just ring a bell in their heads, meaning a television show that came out of the United States. That is what is familiar with a lot of persons who are what you call young, you know, dynasty. This is about some white people who came in out of Texas and a billionaire, and in that dynasty, you know, it wasn't about family, it's about dying nasty. It wasn't about morality and high standards of living. That dynasty thing was about robbing and stealing and people taking away people's wife and swapping and all sort of what we call immorality from the Afrocentric perspective. And so a lot of us now don't even attach anything positive to the word dynasty. Because when you think about dynasty, you think about a man called GR. Yeah, I think about some television business. When the real power of the dynasty rests in the knowledge of the ancients, the importance of the bloodline, and the importance of the family. Not about deception and cookery, that who can take whose power and the television, the Hollywood thing. You see Hollywood? Hollywood has a lot to do with the deception and the illusions that are created in the minds of black people. Hollywood. For example, as much as we want to embrace the dynasties of ancient Egypt, Hollywood tells us that within the world of the movie, the people of the dynasty were really the devil. Yeah, Hollywood movies give us the impression that the ancient pharaohs who are of the dynasties of Egyptian empire, that these were the devils. And Hollywood tells us now that the enemy is really the pharaoh, and that the hero really is represented by Moses. This is Hollywood reinforcing Bible teachings. And so the concept of the dynasty of the ancient Egyptians is put into the rubbish pan. And we don't elevate and respect the history, our story of the dynasties of ancient Egypt. What we're beginning to know is follow the fables of Moses and begin to embrace men like David and Solomon and that whole Hebrew lineage, leaving out the African history, leaving out the dynasties of ancient Egypt, leaving out Akhenaten, leaving out Nefertiti, leaving out Hatshepsut, leaving out the first, second, and the third dynasties, leaving out the history that goes into 8, 9, 10,000 years before the Christian era. The Chinaman was there too. We were not alone, because the Chinaman had his dynasties also in the BC era. What seems to have saved the Chinaman is that in the Chinaman's cultural tradition, there is no centerpiece around any savior. There is no savior in the sky for the Chinaman. The only man that can save the Chinaman is himself, because the Chinaman believes in his ancestors, worships his ancestors, puts family, race, and money up front. Black people, we take heed. Metamorphosis. StylzFM. Hailing up Chris D and hailing up Jamaica Diva 8. And then, of course, there was this forced exodus of black people. Not the one out of ancient Africa, no, you know, but the one out of modern Africa. Forced exodus of black people to build up this Western Hemisphere. Yes, and we are still feeling the wrath. Forced exodus, uprooting violently the conscious and the unborn. Yeah, we have returned through that Red Sea crossing, return into the dynastic life of ancient Africa. Yes, we have to reverse that curse of the Red Sea. We have to return to our foundation, which is in Africa. Cannot be in the desert of Sinai. It must be in ancient Ethiopia. We have to leave Moses. We have to return to Akhenaten, Nefertiti, to Sheba, to the ancients of Africa. Revolt against the forced exodus in the 15th century. Return with the consciousness first. Yes, with the consciousness, the directing force that is within the eye. All those who left with Moses, it's time we return. It's time we return to that mythical Red Sea crossing, reconnect with our blackness, embrace the gods and goddesses of ancient Africa, Jeb and Nut, Mat, Ra. These are our gods. Amen. Jah is the eye within. We have to move Jah. We have to move the eye consciously from one stage to another stage, fearlessly.
StylzFM.
Dynasties, African blood, not the blood of Jesus, but the blood of the African people, the blood of the ancient Africans living long before the Christian era. Going to the Egyptians, the blood of the ancients. Yeah, we don't have any RH in our blood. No rhesus monkey blood. It's all divine. No RH. No rhesus. Divinity in the bloodline. No rhesus monkey factor in the blood of the ancient Egyptians. No RH factor. We need to be respecters of the blood of Africans, because African blood is precious, more precious than the blood of Jesus, far, far more precious. Long, 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 long before any Christian era, the African blood is strong. We're not only strong physically to work in the sun. It is the blood that is strong. Make us survive the brutality of the triangular trade. So we shouldn't spill the blood of the Africans without much concern. We should take it very, very seriously. Let us stop the spilling of the blood. Let us stop the spilling of black blood. The Chinese blood is precious to the Chinaman, and Indian blood is precious to the Indians. No difference with Africans. African blood flowing through I and I veins. Let us respect the power of the blood. Deconstruct the mythologies here on the Metamorphosis. And you see a mythology, myths are so important to black people that sometimes we're not even sure what a myth is. We have difficulty separating myths from fables, fables from fantasies, fantasies from illusions and deceptions. But I want you to hear Dr. Naeem Akbar, who will give us a small talk on the whole idea of myths. And the most important myth I am saying in the life of African people today is the myth of Osiris. Osiris. I'm recommending all my listeners make an effort to get their hands on the Osirian myth and read that mythology and see how deeply it resonates within the consciousness. Yeah, Metamorphosis.
Awaken and rise up. The dead depart this earth not as dead people, but they leave it as if they were alive. The link is unloosed. The knot is untied. I cross this portal. I have thrown to the ground all evil which is on me. they go towards Osiris. Their faces find a new life and strength. This is from the Book of Coming Forth by Day. Isis and Horus are speaking. The awakening. One of the things that we have lost a feel for is the power of mythology, the power of the myth. Our ancient people in Africa, for thousands and thousands of years, contemplated the vastness of a universe that actually transcended description. They contemplated a reality. They contemplated a greatness and an awesome reality of God and nature that was beyond the ability to grasp and describe in words. The brilliance of those people pursued science as far as it could take them. And then they found that science ran out. They took theology and philosophy as far as it could take them. And they found out that logic, theology, and all of the other logics ran out. So they said, well, if we can't put it into reality, let's see if our descriptions can transcend reality. Because they found that time and logic occupied space and time. And what they were trying to describe transcended time and space. So they had to go beyond what was mere description. Though the description alluded to the vastness, though the science pointed to the infinite, they were unable to be totally descriptive of this transcendent reality that was known as the infinite. So what did they do? They decided to reach beyond the describable and come forth with mythology. Now, what is mythology? Now, we've been taught that mythology has to do with Paul Bunyan and Rumpelstiltskin and Sleeping Beauty and all these other kinds of little fairy tales. Well, they are fairy tales. The strong, powerful tales are the mythology, the mythological tales. Myth is talking about the reality that is too big to fit into time and space. Myth is the way to talk about the transcendent reality that transcends time and space and is able to be precise in its descriptions. Now, if this is the case, then, one of the things that we should begin to try to look at in terms of trying to rediscover who we are and to awaken the other eye. By the way, the two eyes see the physical, the third eye sees the mythological. And to be able to awaken the third eye, then it becomes necessary to rediscover the power of the myth. Now, I don't have time to do all of this because it would take years and years and years, and I don't understand it anyway. But I'm going to simply touch on something of what our ancient ancestors told us and teach us. You know, it's very interesting because the ones who preceded us understood that their responsibility was not to today alone, that day alone. They understood that their responsibility was to eons yet not born. They understood that the message of truth which they pursued was not a message for that time and that place, but had to be a message for all time and all place. So therefore, what they laid down in the models and the symbols and the structures that they left were communications that transcend time and space, that were true of that time, true of the time that preceded that time, and true of time yet to be born that was beyond time. And if it was true then, true before then, true after then, and will always be true. So all we need to do if we want to understand truth is to go back and to pick up the codes that they left us and see if we can understand what's going on. They tell us that Osiris was of divine origin. He came out of heaven and dwelt among men. They tell us that Osiris was one who taught civilization and cultivation, how to go about bringing life out of the earth. They tell us that Osiris was the teacher of worship of the god. The one who taught, you see, the worship of the god for our people was a recognition of the netters. Netters does not mean gods. Netters means the forces of nature. So Osiris taught science and religion because there was no distinction between science and religion. And therefore, since he understood both the mundane and the celestial, he was able to bring both worlds together. And so therefore, he was of heaven and of earth. He was man conceived in woman, born of God. So therefore, Osiris then, they tell us, was of divine origin. But because of a world that had been set up on some principles that we still don't understand, he had a brother whose name was Set, who Brother Quasey told us about and gave us pictures of earlier. And Set, who later became Satan or Shaitan, depending on your language preference, began to pursue, or Abel and Cain, whichever one story you want to use, they're all the same story. They went and somehow decided that they were going to somehow attack this scientific truth bringer called Osiris, and Set set out to slay him and mutilate him, because Set represented the personification of evil, destructiveness, that which ate away at order, ate away at strength, ate away at power, ate away at truth. It was the natural opposing force to truth. And so that's what Osiris had to contend with. But the only way that you can ever get to truth and destroy it is by way of deception. So the story tells us that Osiris was tricked into his destruction. Now, Set had a party, called together his 72 co-conspirators, built a chest that was perfect to fit the size of Osiris, and after everyone at the party had tried themselves out in the chest, then Osiris was the last to try himself out in the chest. When he got in the chest being made for him was a perfect fit, and the co-conspirators closed the chest, sealed him in it, threw it into the river, and the river took the chest out to the sea. Now, the chest moving out to the sea, we are told, was eventually consumed by a mighty tree that encircled the chest and grew up around the chest. And the tree was such a beautiful tree that a king in a strange land took the tree to his castle and built his castle around the tree that contained the chest of Osiris. But then there was Isis, the spirit of truth, the one who comes with diligence, perseverance, determination. Isis representing the totally continuous resilience of human nature. Isis coming as a symbol of the rebirth of nature. Isis coming as one who is able to carry on the continuity of that which has been set into operation by the Creator himself. And Isis goes in search of Osiris. And we're told that she finds the body. The story goes on and on and on. We can't go into all of it. But we're told that she finds the body and she takes the chest. But evil always...
Yeah, we got to know about Osiris. We got to know about Isis. It's the reality of the Black experience. That was Dr. Naeem Akbar. Dr. Naeem Akbar speaking on the Osirian myth. It's a mythology that all black people need to know and embrace. It's overpowering. It predates Jesus, Joseph, and Mary by thousands of years. It's the foundation of our existence.
You don't, but now's the time you make a start. Oh, you can't just tell the people one thing and then you turn around and contradict the same thing and turn us into clowns.
Osiris is the key, and Osiris is not very far from Sirius, you know. Yeah, and the link between Osiris and the Sirius constellation and the philosophy of the Dogons of Mali. It's all connected, black people. All connected. Yeah, we're into the section called Deconstructing Mythologies, and we're trying to re-engage our own selves with the powers of myths. It is Osirian myth that we must read and internalize. Osirian. And we must know about Osiris. These are some Osiris t-shirts. I might just start an Osiris line. Yeah, but we have to embrace and recultivate the powers that are ours. So we're looking at the mythologies. We just heard Dr. Naeem Akbar telling us about Osiris and how Isis was the woman of truth and beauty who had to go and search for the pieces of Isis, of Osiris, put the pieces together. He found all the pieces except one. She couldn't find his penis. Yeah, man. She found all the pieces of Osiris. Penis was missing. And so the phallic symbol became very, very important in ancient Egypt. The phallic symbol is coming out of the mythology that is ours. And we must have to embrace it. And let go the one about the ghosts and the Holy Ghost one and this spirit talk. Let us leave the illusions. Let us move towards the reality. I also want to just make a mention of what one of my Facebook correspondents saying. Kasha Blak, referring to the Indians. He say, the Indians right here in Toronto, First Nation Indians, making their claims for economic rights and equal rights. So black people themselves must take note. Yeah, the Indians are standing up for their own rights. It's about time I and I do the same thing. Yeah, Metamorphosis, StylzFM.
I know you wouldn't like it, no, 'cause there is so much to be revealed, boy. Don't let the Father come down. No one catch you in the steam.
Too serious, and you really need some church. I wanna go church from all long, rather sleep through the morning and put on a slam. But me woman, she a pressure me fi go confession, so me decide fi go and kill the conversation. So me sit down right beside Sister Pam, who a tell me everything about the congregation, about Sister Paulette and her gay husband and how she still asleep with the minibus man.
Yeah, look, Mrs. Jacko. I know you're there right now.
She a do the dirty dance to the Mataran song, and I say she get the thing them from Baby Sham. about the one beacon who a drive the big Benz away and get money from. That's why nobody no want give no collection. No see the church roof a leak away and really depend. Every Sunday is a competition. This enough of them a go like them in a name brand. That they sitting where she will come out of some chunk pattern with the can for bar smell that a no new fashion. Then she proceed to talk about the man. Them only come a service to look church woman. And we pull up the girl and talk about religion. But we couldn't say nothing because me know me a one.
Yeah, we're deconstructing the mythologies within the state of our consciousness and our knowledge base. And we always talk about the importance of the I. And the I is so important to existence that if you ask yourself, whose birthday you would rather celebrate, your birthday or the birthday of Jesus? Ask yourself, whose birthday you think you would rather celebrate, your Earth Day or the birth of Jesus? Would you rather Jesus born and you didn't born? Whose existence you would rather experience? Most eyes want to exist. There are very few eyes who want to just disintegrate, What each eye wants is a better condition, material conditions, social, economic, and emotional conditions. Environment is what the eye needs, positive environment. But no eye really wants to give up itself, No eye wants to exchange and being a next person eye. So the eye in each individual have this great amount of self-respect for itself. It's just the environment and the social conditions that allows and force certain eyes to become so decrepit in their behavior. We're going to go into the consciousness now of try to work a little bit around the states of consciousness. Are we only sleepers and dreamers? And what is that happens to us when we sleep? We spend a lot of hours in sleep, only for hours. What is it that happens, and are we conscious when we move from awake to sleep? Who can define the moment when sleep is in force and you're no longer awake? There are people who are driving and insist that them eyes open, and even when the eyes are open, they are falling asleep. So I recognize that you can actually sleep then with your eyes open. The sleeping don't have anything to do with really closing your eyes. What sleeping has to do is, it seems to be, is with the brain itself. The brain itself demanding a period of rest. No, the brain itself doesn't really rest at any time at all. What the brain does is slow down. And within that slowdown, the brain continues to be active. So we speak now of states of consciousness. We speak of being conscious, consciously, and be aware. That's the awake stage. Once we fall, as some people do, into sleep, they have moved from the conscious into an unconscious state. Now, in this state of unconsciousness, the body still functions. The mind, the brain still orders the digestive system. The brain still orders the respiratory system. All these systems are still working, under control of the brain. What is shut down is the screen, because the eyes are closed. The sense of hearing turned down. The sense of smell turned down. You turn on all your senses because the brain wants to rest. Now, in this resting stage, a lot of research and experimentation has taken place. Question as to why we sleep. Why do we need sleep? How important is sleep? What about the sleep rhythm? What they call the circadian rhythm? What is it that is responsible for the sleep rhythm in the black people? And when we begin to explore sleep and wake in black studies, in black culture, we come upon the circadian rhythm. And then we begin to hear about things like the melatonin, which controls the sleep rhythm. These things are not specific to black people because only black people produce melatonin as a hormone. So we are special people now when it comes to our sleep and wake patterns. And whenever these patterns are interrupted, we become very edgy. People can tamper with our psychology. Now, in the sleep stage, just want to touch on this a little bit now, and the whole concept of dreaming. Well, everybody tends to dream. What really is a dream? Well, that question has been asked for thousands of years, and obviously it won't be answered just right here. But for the grassroots people, for the people at the ground, a lot of people think that the dream is a message. Some think the dream is a message from the ancestors. Because in the African tradition and in our culture, we still have respect for the ancestors, those who have gone. We still see them in a dimension. They're still existing in a dimension within time and space, beyond our consciousness. So we get numbers, for example, and we take these numbers and we buy these numbers in the general lotto, and a lot of people win, simply from the dream. Some people get the message from the granny. Some people get the message from a relative from a past, and they go out and they buy the numbers, and the numbers play. So what is the link now between the relatives who are dead and gone and the numbers? How is it they are able to perceive? Are they still alive in another dimension? I want to leave this section here, because some people might be getting jumpy thinking about spirits and things that they really can't manage. But here it is. Oftentimes we sleep and we dream. They tell us a lot of our dreaming takes place in the early morning hours. Let us say between 2 and 5 a.m. In the black people, it is corresponding to when the melatonin is flowing, because the pineal gland releases the melatonin at night. And so the brain is bathed, and we have all these visions and insights. Now, personal experience, and for others who may have the same experience, sometimes we dream of ourselves traveling, and we go very, very far. I'm going to propose to the item that within the journey, there's a language for the way we travel. Some cultures call it astral traveling, wherein the psyche of the man travels to the ether or travel to astral space. Now, sometimes we make a journey far away. And how many of you can speak to this experience now, that if you travel far away in your dream and somebody wake you up suddenly, or you have to come back suddenly, sometimes you wake up with a headache. Yeah, man, you wake up with a headache because you really land too fast. It's like you come back too fast and you land too quickly, and your head hurt you when you wake up. I'm saying to the item now, where did the eye go? Because we could still see you lying in the bed. What aspect of yourself traveled? What aspect of your being traveled thousands of miles, end up in battles that sometimes you're fighting and you sweat, and when you wake up, you're full of perspiration? So there's an eye that journeys when we sleep. And I'm saying we have to become conscious of that eye. And the fact that that eye seems to be able to move beyond our physical structure, it means that there's power, serious power within the eye.
I was seduced to reduce my knowledge, because I will always break those barriers and burn down bondage. Oh Lord God Almighty, grant me all privilege. You see, I have to overcome all the wicked, them and them false things. I have no white God, don't teach me anything wrong. Who the white God save me from white man oppression? I have no white God, it's just a black messiah. A white God that bless, so him not blesses. I have no white God, don't teach me anything wrong. Who the white God save me from white man oppression? I have no white God, it's just a black messiah. If a white God that bless, so him not bless. I want what is rightful mine, so me not stay mute. Your system is designed to distract me from the truth, but it will come to pass. Unknown and to the youth in the
You know, in the ancient Indian cultures, some of the philosophers speak about 7 states of consciousness. Yes, 7 states of consciousness. And so how do we move from the chattel level of consciousness, that animal level, to the higher states of the I? So we have to recognize that there are levels. There are various levels of consciousness. Within the body, each chakra, each organ on the endocrine gland represents a level of consciousness. From the clitoris up through the abdominals, the adrenaline, all the various glands represent forces of energy. And so what we have to do is free up our cells. You know, sometimes the scriptures, Christian scriptures speak about the 7 seals. The 7 seals could really refer to the 7 chakras, you know, or the endocrine glands. These are the seals. And we have to unlock these seals to develop the full power of our consciousness. So the gonads are the sex organs. That's one level of our power. But then the power goes up the tree, up the spine, until we get to the highest level in the tree, which is the pineal. It is the I, original I of man. So we have to use these moments as we explore mythologies and fables and fairy tales to explore what is it that really are the foundation of our own existence. What is the power of the mythologies? Which ones we should reject, which ones we should embrace. We're going to come out of this segment here now looking at the whole notion then of what is life. Is a stone alive? We get an education that things are divided into living and non-living. And living things are able to move. Living things are able to reproduce. Living things are able to what you call ingest and grow. There are certain formula set up to define when things are living. So when things are not living, they're not doing those things that were outlined earlier. But I want to take the item into a different level of consciousness. And we'll talk about living and life. Because the cells that we come from is the foundation of our life. And if we were to explore what is it that makes up a cell, it's really made up of chemicals and various elements. When we explore further what is it that makes up these chemical elements, we get into deeper science. We get into the science of the atom. And surely, wherever there is movement, there is life. And the atom is moving. Because within the atom, there are particles, ions and electrons. And it is the rate of movement of these electrons that define the property or the material. So if we move from the physical, the dense material stuff, where we can see it moving, and we look at the makeup, the chemical and the electrical makeup of our properties that surround us, the gases, all of these things at the finest level, we find the electron. And the electron is alive. The electron is moving. The electrons are able to attract other electrons to themselves. They are also able to repulse electrons of different sensation. So I want to say to the item now, is it living and life? Life goes beyond the physical material. There's life in the stars. Wherever there's movement, where there are molecules, wherever there are atoms. So a stone is alive because within the stone there are molecules, and within the molecules there are atoms, and within the atoms there are electrons, and electrons are moving. And where there is movement, there is life. Metamorphosis, expanding consciousness. want to hear up to Valerie and the people in Port Antonio and Springbank and close by. People in Passive Gardens and Norwich and all around town. Metamorphosis. Afrocentric views and news, and I'm just here saying that President Obama shall be inaugurated shortly in his second term as the President of the USA. But you know, as much as we are glorifying this Obama, the real history shows that Obama is not really the first black president, you know. We have to read up on a man called John Hanson. Yeah, John Hanson. 17, let me give it for sure, 1781. Yeah, imagine that. A black man was a president of America in them time there. 1781. For 1 year. So when we lack the knowledge, we sometimes glorify the wrong things. So Obama does not really represent the first time a black man is a president of the United States. So we have to clear up that illusion and get into reality. And so the expectations of having life, quote unquote, becoming better for black people because of Obama presence is another illusion. Another illusion because what Obama really represents is just the simply military-industrial complex, the White House, the Pentagon, and Hollywood. These are the forces that run America. And we here on the periphery need to be aware of the driving forces. It's not about the president. In the same way in Jamaica, it's not about the prime minister. You're not the people who direct the country. People who direct the country are the people who control the wealth. It goes that way in all countries, whether they call themselves democratic or socialists or communists. These are the people who control the economy. Now, as African people, black people, we are caught up in the world news given to us by the European media houses. So basically what they want to keep us focused on is what we are focused on. So we're still looking at Syria. We're still looking at Israel. Looking at Palestine, still trying to establish themselves as a state. Even though they are being chased off their own lands, we see that there is no justice in the God of Israel, nor is there much speaking about the God of Moses. Because it is in the Bible that a lot of the conflict has been sown, and so it seems to be conflict without end. Where we must focus more as a people now is really what's happening on the continent, because some serious things happening in Sudan, where we have tens of thousands of people now who are starving and left to eat just roots and fruits and figs and twigs and that type of stuff. And because the media doesn't inform us much about that, we are not aware of it. But we have to look at what's happening in Africa, the battle for the natural resources. And it's all about armies. And I wonder if there are more armies in Africa than anywhere else in the world. Because the Chinese, of course, have the largest army because they have the largest population. But I think if we were to count all the armies in Africa and put them together, we may find that we have more armies in Africa than China as one nation. So what we need is a sort of knowledge of our own strengths and recognize why we are fighting is simply because of the resources that the Europeans have. They are more in demand of it because they have the industrial empires that need these type of resources. So the divide and rule continues, and the two important forces to divide African people is Christianity and Islam. It is what has divided the whole African continent. In the same way Jamaica has been divided by JLP and PNP, Africa has been divided by Islam and Christianity. And both of these forces have divided black people as much as they embrace the concept of one God. So you see, ultimately, we're going to have a shake off Islam, we have a shake off Muhammad, shake off Jesus and Christianity, return to our black selves, return to the mythologies of Osiris, return to Horus, Isis, and Isis, return to black culture. It is the only way we are going to redeem ourselves.
Spreading fear and confusion, creating cloak and dagger wars, losing what you're fighting for. Back, you need a double attack. Step back, here comes the shark attack. Back, we need a double attack. Step back, here comes the shark attack. What more do they want? Yeah, got all they need. Yeah, they turn their backs and their hands that feeds them. Ooh yes, back, we need a double attack. Step back, here comes the shark attack. Back, we need a double attack. Step back, here comes the shark attack. Whoa, yes. Whoa, yes. Whoa, yes. Whoa, yeah. This is a new world order. Another new world order. A wicked world order. A new world order.
Yeah, we have to have a new order here in Jamaica. Yeah, we need a new sort of order here in Jamaica, in our economic system, new order, social economic system. Now, as I said earlier at the beginning, at the top of the program, the Prime Minister, our prime, and the word prime mean best and first. This is our best and our first minister. And in our system, we have two fundamentally two basic type of ministers here. We have the ministers of government, or the ministers of religion. And the people have been put under the watch of these persons. And so the ministers are supposed to administer, meaning you give your time and you give your service to the people. Now, in this national speech, I first heard it the second half, and then I waited for the rebroadcast and listened to it from the top to the bottom. And I wasn't one of the persons who was just getting up by saying a foolishness attack, I'm enough to hear. I try to listen and try to identify what is positive and what is neutral and what is really not so positive. Now, my impression of this one-year report card is about justifying achievements. Now, the country at this point in time is not really interested in past achievements. What the country is interested in is present conditions and the way forward. Now, not much was given as to the way forward, because our way forward now has been tied up into an agreement with the IMF. The IMF is the International Monetary Fund that determines how countries must spend the money that they lend. Now, when countries get in debt and they borrow, you have to pay according to the price of the lender. Now, after Jamaica has been borrowing for 50 years, led by both parties, we're at the point where in no other country, nor institution, no Paris club, nobody is willing now to lend this island of dreamers one more red cent until the governance addresses and adjusts certain financial situations. The most critical one that faces the population is salary. We are in a country now where the salaries have been literally frozen, and in that freeze, and during the freeze, the price of goods in this free market has flown away, that the critical spending in our country now is on utilities. So we're facing a condition of malnutrition in Jamaica. Yeah, because people here now are simply feeding on bag juice for the sugar to keep them moving. So the country is on what we call on a deathbed. Not DEBT, but DEATH. We're on a deathbed. There must be a way to resurrect ourselves, because we have been through worse as a people. We've been worse as a country, and we've been through worse as a nation. We've been through worse as a race. So what we need now is solutions, rather than pointing out shortcomings. Because we are blessed with shortcomings here. But we lack the solution. So the Metamorphosis now is unwilling to join the bandwagon to point and criticize and give passing grades. But there can be no passing grade in the state of the economy today. So the answer rests in not just economics. It rests in understanding the importance of the vast majority of the people in the country being African people. It means recognizing the importance of Marcus Garvey. It means recognizing the philosophy of self-reliance. Now, the first thing any independent person or country can do is pay your utilities and feed yourself. Now, our utilities is based upon oil, and we don't grow oil in Jamaica. Oil is rising consistently, so consistently we are spending on fuel. So there's no response to that, because the country is not redirecting its energies to building solar. The answer really rests in solar and hydro, but we're not really making any moves there. So let us call that a hard-end energy. We need employment. Now, employment must come from the traditional. And the traditional is agriculture. Because in the traditional, we can feed ourselves. Now, we have been growing our own food, but we don't eat it here. Because the education and the class system encourage people to eat things that come from foreign. Now, with this foreign-minded and this foreign taste, our local producers suffer. And with this globalization concept, free food comes into the country, third-rate, fourth-rate food at a cheaper price. So our local farmers can't sell what they grow. We end up buying third, fourth-rate type of food because it is cheaper, because most of our money goes into fuel. All right, so that's another end we block up. Solution. The Prime Minister don't speak to any of these issues, nor do the members of government. But Rastafari have a role. And the role of Rastafari is also to point out and to endarken the population, that they become more conscious. Yes, endarken. Because the Enlightenment is a form of bleaching. And we have been bleached enough in our skins and in our consciousness. We need some endarkenment. So the solution again rests in our capacity to feed ourselves. And if we don't want to feed ourselves, we still rest it still rests in agriculture. In the Gleaner, Sunday Gleaner, January 6, 2013, there's a state in America called Kentucky. And in Kentucky, we know about Kentucky Fried Chicken. That's what they feed us on here. Well, it's not Kentucky anymore, it's just simply KFC. Well, in Kentucky, one of the important industries there is tobacco. And tobacco is in decline. And the people in Kentucky, the government, they are looking for something new. And one of the possibilities that they have outlined is industrial hemp. Now, industrial hemp is what I'm proposing now is going to be part of our solution here in Jamaica, our revolution. Now, tell you a little about hemp. And think about it, people, along this line. The hemp is a member of a certain family of plants. The family is called the cannabis sativa. That's the name of the family. Now, we understand family. We have family in trees, we have family in animals, we have family in human beings. You have members of the family. Some look alike, some don't look alike. Now, within the family of the cannabis, these plants, there is one member of the family that is called marijuana. There's another member of the family who is a cousin that is called hemp. Now, these two members of the family look alike. The cousin look like the brother. So hemp looks like marijuana. But hemp has no properties in it that can get you high. No psychoactive properties are in hemp. When they measure it, it comes out to 0.03 of the property called THC. That's what gives you the high. So hemp is not a drug. Hemp is a plant. And what is happening in Kentucky is that the Kentucky people have recognized that this long dormant crop, which has a multitude of uses, could make a comeback if the politicians have their way. Hemp is a cash crop. You can get 3 crops of hemp per year. Now, the supporters of this recognize that there's a ready-made market for hemp, and the U.S. retail sales of hemp exceeds $400 million, simply from making paper, clothing, food, biofuels, lotions, and other products. So we have a product that can be created right here in Jamaica. We have a plant that I'm suggesting that the government of Jamaica look into in the same way the plant is being discussed in Kentucky. And so Portia Simpson and the government can begin to speak about factories, hemp factories. Hemp from the factory, from the farm to the factory. Hemp for economic solution.
Try to live good and do no wrong. Just give up the badness and you will be better. Just give up the badness. Just give up the badness. If you don't change your ways, you can come near me, I tell you. You better change your ways, and then I will see.
So we're trying to find a way out of this economic morass that we find ourselves in Jamaica. We talk about farming. The word I am suggesting that we begin to use is industrialization. That is the way out of our dependency on foreign things. We become industrialized. And what we industrialize now is hemp. Yes, we want to know if there's any legislation against the growing of hemp. Because the article continues, It said, if hemp is the biggest obstacle is hemp's outlaw status in America. The crop has not been grown in America since the 1950s because the federal government moved to classify hemp as a controlled substance. And you know why they do that? Just because it was related to the marijuana plant. It is related because it is a cousin. Now, if your brother is a criminal, them can't lock you up because you use them cousin. You can think about it. It's a family affair. One member in the family is a crook. The other member is a pastor. Well, we can't use that. The other member is not a crook. Who you arrest? You can't arrest a man who's not a crook just because him look like. So the hemp looks like marijuana. It grew in Jamaica wild. We call it in Jamaica wild ganja. And nobody's arrested for growing or engaging with the growing of wild ganja. What we need to is move it to the level of industry. Hemp does not require any pesticides. It doesn't require much high-intensive farming. It is the most versatile plant in creation. It was in the Garden of Eden. I am saying the hemp, the cannabis sativa plant, was a plant that had the knowledge in it of good and evil. That was a plant that was in the middle of the garden. Because once you get involved with the cannabis, it opens the consciousness. And you certainly become aware of what is good and what is evil. This Prime Minister, the government, and opposition are saying to the item that the way forward is agriculture in an industrialized way. We have to industrialize the hemp. We can have some pilot projects in various regions of the island where we develop oil, we develop butter. We can develop the seeds in one place, we can develop the stock in another place. Paper and rope. From the farm to the factory. Factories. Employment. Enough youth, me know personally, would I leave the street side and go and work on a hemp farm, knowing that in 3 months a crop is finished. Yeah, that's how we're going to transform this set of idle hands into working hands. People of the government are saying it loud that hemp is the way forward. Industrialize hemp. So what we need now is legislation. It is not a drug. It is simply a cousin of the marijuana. And you know that hemp was once a staple of the Kentucky agriculture. There's a time in the colonial America, when them say the government forced every state to grow hemp. You were forced to grow hemp because of the viability and the amount of products that we can get from hemp. So our economic power, we can make a great leap forward. A great leap in 4 or 5 years if we were to invest heavily into the manufacturing of cloth. Can you imagine reggae paper? Reggae cloth coming out of Jamaica, out of agriculture and industry. The Minister of Industry and Agriculture. The whole nation should rally around hemp. It's for the healing of this nation. Rastafari say that.
And leave all the wicked men.
Yeah, Rastaman, we have to start grow hemp. Yeah, man.
Move out of Babylon,
And get rich.
all the wicked man. The wicked shall not prosper. Only righteous man shall stand. So keep on moving. Keep on moving. Rastaman, move on, move on. Rastaman, move on, move on. Oh, anything that you can do, dreadlocks can do it better. So move up, move up. Rastaman, move up, up.
Yeah, Rastaman, we can launch a revolution and move out of Babylon if we start grow him. Yeah, man, and leave all the wicked people behind us. But we need economic power for that. To grow hemp. Yes, let's just get conscious. All farmers. Cheapest thing to grow, hemp. Most versatile plant on the planet, hemp.
You shall not enter in the kingdom of God, the Almighty. In the kingdom of God, the Almighty.
Thank you, Denise Hilton Lee, from my experience in UWI, and you're studying abroad now. Just hold the meditation. Give thanks for the link on Facebook.
Move up, move up.
So Rastafari now is presenting the alternative. Guys, always I have to give them the way forward, you know. And I'm going to quote the Kentucky Agricultural Commissioner. His name is James Comer. He sees untapped potential for hemp. Comer is himself a farmer. And he is saying that making industrial hemp legal will be his top priority in the 2013 General Assembly. U.S. Senator Rand Paul, a fellow Republican, is a leading supporter of federal legislation to remove restrictions on hemp cultivation. This is what he said himself. I sincerely believe that industrial hemp can be a viable option for our farmers for many generations to come. I also believe that we can create badly needed jobs in the manufacturing sector with this crop. Seed suppliers could gain a new market, so could businesses that clean grain or crush seeds to extract their oils. Hemp is no different than any other crop. So anybody who profits from agriculture now could have a small to large hand in this, depending on what types of products or services they are selling. Jamaican people, people of the Caribbean, people of Africa, people of Black meditation. We have a plant that is our savior. Yeah, a plant that is our savior. And rather than bow down to this plant and resurrect the plant and lift up the plant, we are here condemning, criticizing, and criminalizing people because of the plant. So I'm saying no, ministers of government, if we really want to eradicate poverty out of this country, if we really want to get youths whose handles we claim are idle, we want to get them active, the place to send these youths is to the land. And on the land, it's not about banana and sugar. It's about hemp. It's about educating our population about the difference in the look between these two family members, particularly the police force. All members of the police force should be exposed to the difference between hemp and marijuana. All farmers, rather, all these persons, there should be a national campaign to educate our population about the value of hemp. There should be hemp farms right across this island. And the Metamorphosis is suggesting that once we move in that direction, crime, violence, and a lot of these negative elements that surround us will not simply disappear, but it will be diminished greatly. Metamorphosis, promoting transformation through consciousness, through knowledge.
none shall escape the judgment in this time. These words I sing to all mankind. Arise, black man, Jehovah has come forward into Babylon to declare equal rights and justice among the heathen. Yes, the weak are
This is a man called Johnny Clark. Yeah, for the ones who don't know, this is Johnny Clark.
Anything that say I will always do. Anything that say I will always do because I love them. Oh, because I love them. I love him, I serve him all the days of my life in the house of the Lord, the Rastafari. I love him, I serve him all the days of my life in the house of the Lord, the Rastafari. Oh, oh.
Yeah, we're still in the new local section of news, but it's puzzling still enough. As much as I proposing the way forward, it is puzzling how the state is coming down on the people in their efforts to survive. Because what we have to turn to here in Jamaica is the culture. And within the aspect of culture that we turn to is the music. And music don't really play during the day too tough because you're supposed to be engaged in work. But when the vast population is unemployed, the people must create their own work. So the people use the night to create them work. And the state now is insisting that the people do nothing at night. Locking off sessions at 12 o'clock, policemen with long gun going in and dances with elderly people. The young boy, as my virgin said, the little children that we send to school come back out with guns to frighten us. Right? We send them to school for an education. And they come back and invade our parties. Elder people have in sessions. And the little youth, them coming with them big gun. Or frighten up old people. That's not the purpose of the police. It can't be to serve and protect the state. It should be to serve and protect the people. So all that needs to be revolutionized within the Jamaican scenario. But we're seeing that locally, it is a problem the way the force deals with the I and I as a citizen. And when you close down the night center, the man who cook him food, boil him pot of soup, and by 12 o'clock the people them gone. That man has been destroyed in his own economics. A lot of investment goes into the preparation for the nightlife, and then it's destroyed before the activity. And the same state now telling the people that they must find ways. Well, let's say, as the ways are closing, as they close on the ways, it is the police force that becomes more empowered. And I'm concerned that we are heading towards this police state. Since the demise of Tivoli, a change has taken place in Jamaica. Because before Tivoli was mashed down and transformed into something else, it is really the concept of bad man that run Jamaica. It was bad man, and our bad man had a base at Tivoli. With the destruction of the Tivoli base, the bad man has shifted from the bad man in the community now to the police. The police is now behaving like the bad man. Because the gunman really on the run. And the police have been empowered. So I know the citizens who are not involved with the gunmen. Is we know who feel in the wrath of the police. Because the police now has not been given the power of what you call discretion. Our police lack discretion. Discretion is a form of intelligence. And if we keep drawing on the lowest ranks of our students to become police, we will never have policemen with discretion. And without discretion, the law becomes a force that does murder and pursue things that according to the book without much humanity attached to it. So we have to change up things that are going on here. We have to recognize that we can't head further into a state of police governing. And the way out of that is to create employment through farming. And the farming that I speak to is hemp farming. And so hemp farming will get the police off the backs of the youths. Because the youths will be busy doing them farming. Yeah, and the police now can search for the real hardcore criminals that are really terrorizing society and leave the liquor man them on the street side. So I'm saying to the politicians, I'm saying to Mr. Simpson Miller, you see if you check me before, may I just make you put in the hemp in your speech. Yeah, and you see when you talk about hemp, industrialization of hemp and hemp factories, from farm to factory, no, a pure big up you get. So industrialization is the way forward. In hemp and in sports. Metamorphosis. All we have to do now is just keep on hustling. We left to hustle. How we can just hustle now? People, hustle. You know, say, look, I get away and don't pay no money. Yeah, Metamorphosis here inside the studio. Energies passing through, telling me that I should never pay the money to the courts. I should have claimed some technical language that I don't have. Well, I mean, I tell you, rough. But the system forces us to hustle. Most of the hustling now becoming legal. Man doing all sort of bandugu thing, because the more we try to be legal, is the more them forces to become illegal. What a system. So everybody hustling. So you don't even know who to trust anymore, you know. Yeah, man, a man come and say you want this, and you look around, it's a hustle. It's a hustle. But it's Jamrock, and we still love this place. It's our home.
Rasta. Tell me how come down at East West, them never charge Beanie Man, but them charge Sizzler. Tell me how come people are so out of street, none don't seem to love the Prime Minister. Tell me how come those in power don't seem to care. Oh, it's 'cause life is so hard.
much guns in the streets and none of them gun they never make ya. Don't I east them never chat Beenie Man, but them chat Sizzla. The dollar value's going down and everything's going up around town. Tell me how come but let them get gone down. 'Cause life is so unfair. In this sweet paradise, this is the one we swear. Out of many, can you say you see that in the air? Everyone treated equal, and this is why so many times. No. Someone, anyone, shine a light for love.
Shine a light for love.
Someone shine a light for love.
Shine a light for love.
Somebody up there, shine a light for love. Thank you. Keep it burning. Keep it burning. Tell me how come the youth them downtown can't receive the education like the youth them uptown?
Tell me how come.
Jacure they are jail and the prosecutor know he's innocent and shouldn't be there.
Tell me how come.
People are so out the streets and Babylon are going like say them no see it. Tell me how come people see it and not feel. This life is so unfair. In this sweet, this is the one we swear. Out of many, can you see that? Everyone treated equal. This is why so many times. Yeah.
Tell me why it's so
Let the light
unfair.
shine within our hearts.
Yeah, Alpha Rosie there. Rastafari anthem. Oh yeah, I and I praise King Selassie. And endorse the ghetto youth, them make them well bright. Africa shall rise. You know, sit say poor people and get wise. When I ramp with me again. King Selassie. Endorse the ghetto youth, them make them well bright. Jerusalem shall rise. You know, sit say judge of people and get wise. Oh, the game up and down just like a yo-yo. Me smoke me sense in me, I'm full jai the show. Babylon speed up, so me have to move slow. Them say me lack a knowledge, but me lack them with the flow. Them teach me to say yes, and me still a say no. Them tell me fi stop, and me still go. Them tell me fi cut, and me still grow. Rastafari say so. Me a praise King Selassie. And endorse the ghetto youth, them make them well bright. Africa shall rise. You know, see, say poor people I get wise. You know, no ramp with me again. King Selassie. Endorse the ghetto youth, them make them well bright. Jerusalem shall rise. You know, sit say judge of people I get wise. Wow, the road to Zion rocky, but we still a walk. We move out of Babylon, them still attack. We keep the fire burning and them shut it off. So back it off now. Judgment time now. Emperor still see I rule the earth. I and I bright from birth. No anchor from me wrist, no blood from me shirt. Babylon me heart still a hurt. So me praise King Selassie. And endorse the ghetto youth, them make them well bright. Africa shall rise. You know, see some poor people I get wise. You know, ramp with me again. King Selassie. Endorse the ghetto youth, them make them well bright. Jamaica shall rise. You know, see some judge of people I get wise. Whoa, them drop down them soul, me not drop down me feet. Babylon Christ, let us sit down and wait. Got me well settled and me just keep me straight.
Yeah, people on the text line, you know, I'm reading the text, you know. Just I'm not able to voice everything here, but trust me. Who said them want some can marry gun? The combination.
Endorse the ghetto youth, them make them well bright. Jerusalem shall rise. You know, sit say judge of people I get wise. Wow. Give thanks and praise to the Most High.
Metamorphosis, sort of just looking at some of the texts that are coming in. People seem to be interested in the distinction between cannabis in the cannabis family. Because the family is really the foundation, you know. You have trees of family, you have fish, you have animals. Same thing for plants. And in the plant family, we just want to make a distinction now between the marijuana and the hemp. Yes, they look alike, but one is a cousin. And the cousin don't have no medical issue about it. You know, no drugs, no psychoactive in the cousin. Cousin is a normal cousin. Is if you want the cousin give a buzz, you have to wrap up the cousin big like a light pole and then light it. Yeah. And then you start getting the effect of it. But there's no effect. So once we are aware of that now, we know. And we know say grow wild in Jamaica. We have to begin to industrialize it now, farm it. It is the government now that must put the legislation in place and give the people the space. Give everybody a quarter acre land. Make the youth them know that the revolution is on. And it's a bloodless revolution, this one. Because the revolution is about planting and growing and breaking away from the IMF and those lending agencies that we can become really self-reliant. No, it's a Rastafari, no, Rastafari is in the middle of this struggle. Because what Rastafari now is being accused of is simply just promoting the smoking of ganja. So when the Rastafarians are locked into the smoking side of marijuana, the industrial hemp goes underground, literally, and we don't see it. So when Rastaman now wake up to the consciousness of industrial hemp. Yeah, man, the man them done in the fields already, you know. So you say rather than run up on no hide from police, grow something with the policeman can't trouble. Grow something that is legitimate globally. That we begin to set up our small factories to make shea butter and oil. There are 25,000 products that can be made from hemp. Cellophane, paper, fiberglass, all dynamite come from hemp. So we are sitting on a gold mine. We're sitting on platinum. We have something more valuable than gold. It is what people don't call our black gold is our green gold is. Our green gold is hemp. And the Canadian government knows this. For the people in Toronto, do you know that the hemp grows there? It is well controlled. It's a cash crop in Canada. The Americans are now going into Canada to study how to create, how to transform cigarette factory machinery into hemp factory machinery. We here in Jamaica now, what is it we're waiting on? What is it we're waiting on? We have all of these big brains and these intellects. Why can't we move on our own? Rastafari know that it's not just about smoking herb now. It's about growing the hemp. It's about getting wealth. It's about getting capital. It's about easing the poverty in the country. So you see those who govern us for the last 50 years, hemp is the future. Metamorphosis and Iman Blak said that. This is Honorable Peter Touch. Yes. He was the man who they gave the order of merit for chanting. For chanting.
Let Jah be praised. The goose and the ghost. Let Jah be praised. The Daniel Lamb. Let Jah be praised. Let him be praised. Let him be praised. You better let him be praised. He watereth the hills from his chambers, and the earth is satisfied, so satisfied. He maketh the grass to grow for animals. Jah made the herb for man. He made the herb for man. Jah made the herb for man. Fret not thyself.
I want to hear up Splash Radio 88. Splash Radio 88 in New Jersey. Iman Blak saying black, black, and black. More blackness.
For they shall soon be cut down like grass.
Want to heal up also Archer up in the Rio Grande Valley. All the people up in the Rio Grande Valley in Portland. And not just the Rio Grande, but also the Buff Bay Valley. The people up in Bellevue and across this beautiful, luscious, green parish of Portland.
Let Jah arise, and let all his enemies be scattered. Let them that hate Jah now scatter, shatter, batter, and flatter. As the smoke is driven away, Jah drive them away. As the wax melted, let them be melted, Jah Jah. Beer, let Jah be praised. Daniel Lamb, let Jah be praised. Nikusa Nagas, let Jah be praised. You better let him be praised. Let him be praised. You better let him be praised.
Yes, I'm reading the text here now, and I've heard make mention of Jerry Dan down there in St. Mary. Jerry Dan said, IMF mean Iman farm. Ha ha! Original.
Earthquake.
Yes, Jerry Dan. We have that one locked in.
Brimstone. All of fire.
Now we want them to decriminalize this plant, decriminalize the marijuana and industrialize the hemp. You get it? We decriminalize the ganja and we industrialize the hemp. Because, you know, there's medical ganja now, you know. Medical ganja, canisol. But we're not going to rotate, you know. We're not going to check the medical side of ganja. We're going to leave that one day. We want to focus now on the hemp. Industrial hemp. We'll leave the smoking ganja for a while. Yeah. Anybody want to burn them or just go and burn that. But this is for development and liberation of our economics. Hemp is the way forward.
Some call it marijuana.
Cannabis sativa is a family name.
Some of them call it ganja.
Somebody said name Kanamaringa. Yes, Kana. Them want to say cannabis and them want to say marijuana and want to say ganja. Yes, the mixture is out there. It's a Jamaica flag with a red, green and gold with a cannabis leaf in the middle. Yeah, a black cannabis leaf in the middle of an ice green and gold flag. We were transformed Jamaica.
And players of instrument too. All the people around the world, this is the teaching. Uno here. I saw me slap on the lipstick sound and I burn me ganja pipe. Babylon come and tell me that don't right. I just burn it and toss it on the right. And then them come in and them look and down and them say, ain't that the dreadlocks? So where you come from? You must have two sticker sensing under your tongue. I said no officer Lord, you must be mad. He only smokes cigarettes and strictly shag.
You know, the police thinks that every Rasta man have ganja on him. Yeah man, them feel empowered to just rush you, you know. And when them don't find them vex, they say them vex. Take off all your thumb, look all of your ears, looking at your locks, shake up your pants. When them don't find nothing, them vex. But guess what me tell them? It's in my head.
I don't need no cocaine, it to mess up my brain. I needed the real thing. Come on, give me the grass, and neither the grass, and neither the real thing. The real thing.
And And you know, Rastafari now deals with the marijuana in a more sacred and sacrosanct way because it's not about getting high, you know. I want my people to recognize this now. You see the man who smoke this thing called weed. Weed is not herb, you know. Because the cannabis family is not a weed. The cannabis family is a plant of herbs. So you see the youth them who smoke weed when they gone the wrong way. You see the youth them who smoke grabber, that has nothing to do with the family of cannabis. It has nothing to do with the herb. It's an alien thing the eye them putting into on the brain. That's why the skull get hot. And in that hot skull behavior, it's pure strange and devious behavior come out. So we can put that on the responsibility of the herb. Word sound is power. And if you smoke weed, it means you're smoking something that has no value. Word sound is power. Word sound is power. Weed means a plant that has no value. So when I'm on a burn him weed, I'm burn something that has no value, therefore he's increasing no value in himself. In other words, I'm devaluing himself when he burn weed, not recognizing that the cannabis is a herb. It's a meditative herb. It's for the healing of the meditation. Yeah, we're not trying to get high. So anybody smoking to get high, you can abandon that. Because you see you get high, you're going to try to go higher. And then you're going to go higher. And so you can't go higher, you're going to just crush. Yeah, it's deep in the culture, you know. Yeah, marijuana, ganja. Deep in the culture. The ancients drink it. Medicine. International music. Yeah. Why criminalize I and I?
It was a cool and lovely breezy afternoon.
Yeah, it's all about non-violence. Yes, it does not promote violent behavior. Internal looking, introspection. So we're saying society and the governance, ease up off of the cannabis family. We say decriminalize the marijuana and industrialize the hemp.
This generation,
I tell you,
rules the nation with version. Music I'm full of love. Songs to really make you rub and scrub.
Pass the dutchie on the left hand side. Pass the dutchie on the left hand side. It a go bun.
Give me the music, make me jump and fall.
It a go done.
Give me the music, make me walk in a
It was a cool and lonely, breezy afternoon.
How does it feel when you got no food?
I could feel it 'cause it was the month of
How does it feel when you got no food?
So I left my gate and went out for a walk.
How does it feel when you got no food?
As I passed the dreadlocks camp, I heard them say,
How does it feel when you got no food?
pass the dutchie on the left hand side. Pass
you know, so the tradition of the herb and the marijuana and the cannabis, there's all about peace, love, and tranquility. You know, the Indians also smoke them pipe and they call it a peace pipe. Yeah, man, it's them cannabis them a burn to, you know. Hold them peace talks, you know. Just like when the white man come and him burn female, him get white and get more envious and violent. Indian never know said that was where he reached him, you know. He thought he was offering a peace pipe. And yet he found himself ripped to pieces. Serious thing.
Oh, that's the sweet, sweet sense, you know.
So the Indians smoke it, the Chinese smoke it, and the Africans smoke it. These are the rising and powerful nations of the earth. What is wrong?
Finally the herbs come around. The high grade when me a look for me get it by the pound, yeah. Sweet sensei a come around. Me a take a little jar and pass it around. So finally the herbs come around. The high grade when man a look for me stock it by the pound, yeah. When Babylon a come around, ask them where them a go search for. Ever since the earth slow down, police and road boy them in a showdown. Them a search round the compound.
Can you imagine an entire society wrapped up in a struggle between policemen and citizens over herb, fighting over a plant that is found in the Garden of Eden, put there by the Almighty Creator. In the middle of the garden rests a tree with the knowledge of good and evil. Which other tree in creation opens up the consciousness, the knowledge of good and evil? Yes, D Brown.
StylzFM 96.1.
Yeah, that's why we're poor. We are fools. That's why we are poor. In the abundance of wealth, the fool is thirsty. Rastafari say hemp is the answer.
If it's their own mistake, they can't stop the way to stop and change the time. It's the fulfillingness that is happening now, and it's here for all to see. The time we are living.
Yeah, serious times we're living in. Metamorphosis says that. We must transform ourselves, pull up ourselves with our own bootstraps by planting the most versatile plant in creation and move into industry, manufacturing of secondary type of products, paper, cloth, rope, oil, butter. It is towards the liberation of the people of this island, the Caribbean, and Africa. Agriculture, hemp agriculture. Metamorphosis winding down. I must hail Natasha from William Street and that place that sell the breakfast. So they won't call the name because they may think it's an advertisement. Yes, but I want to hail Natasha. I want to also hail Makonnen, River Dies, and Osa, Kasha, and Jandra C, their child, their daughter. Sir D, Titchfield Hill, people in fellowship. Right across the Harbour View community of Harbour View, people at the UWI, people right here on Boundbrook. Metamorphosis, hoping that the mind has been endarkened. Yes. Internet people, woo, are una big. Right across the states of America, west coast to east coast. Right across the Caribbean, from Jamaica to Barbados. Africa, Ethiopia, Ghana, Zimbabwe. Hail Hope in Zimbabwe. I see you follow me on Twitter. By the way, you can link me on Twitter. I am at Iman Blak at BLAQNITY. It's pronounced Black Unity. So people, StylzFM, Metamorphosis, Iman Blak was here. Until then, peace out.